What if I told you there was a formula to become financially free? And in fact, we could steal the homework of a guy who had done it a bunch of times, even lost money and then done it again. Well, this YouTube video is a little bit different from anything else we do because I am stealing the homework of a guy by the name of Scott Galloway. He is going to teach us his mechanisms for making money despite what's going on in the world around us today. Buckle up. This one's good. Oh, and if you guys want to listen to the full episode, go listen to it on the Big Deal Pod. Prof G is full of insights. If you guys liked this today and want to make more money, I highly recommend you head over to that channel. What do you tell a young person today? Like, what is the actionable thing that you can go do now? Scott, having seen so many different moves in markets, what are some words of wisdom you'd have if they want to make money?
I just wrote a book on creating economic security, and I do think there's a formula. The first is focus, and that is find something you're good at. People say to follow your passion. I think that's bullshit. Anyone who tells you to follow your passion is already rich. And the guy telling you to follow your passion made his billions in iron ore smelting, right? Be a DJ on weekends, play in a soccer league, design jewelry with your friends, open a restaurant when you're already rich. The vanity industries are really difficult because there's 180,000 people in SAG-AFTRA. These are it's not easy to get a union card. That's the union representing actors and stage workers or producers. 83% of them last year didn't qualify for health insurance because they didn't make $23,000. So acting might be your passion, but unless you're in the top 1% and you're getting bright, blinking green signals that you're in the top 1%, go find something else. And I don't want to crush your dreams, just have a sober conversation around what's required to make a living in that industry. So find something you're good at. And the key part of that is find something you're good at in a non-romantic industry. The guy who has this studio, I've been here twice this week, this isn't that romantic. He found some shitty loft space on Avenue B and rents it out to podcasters and is probably making really good money. That is not, he didn't dream of that when he was 9. I know I'm going to install sound insulation on a loft in a mediocre area in Manhattan and rent it out to podcasters. I don't think he was dreaming that when he was 9. But this is a good business.
Now I just opened 2 more.
There you go. This is find something you're good at and think, I could become great. And by the way, if you don't know it, when I was 17, I thought I was going to be a quarterback. When I was 19, I thought I was going to be a pediatrician. When I was 22, I thought I was going to be an investment banker. I got a job with an investment bank. I ended up in business intelligence and analytics. I didn't even know what that meant until I was 25 or 26. So try and find your job in your 20s is to workshop and find something you're good at and maybe could be in the top 10 or the top 1%. And forgive yourself if it doesn't involve college, because 2/3 of kids don't end up in college, and there's this industrial shaming complex. I've been at these parties. Did you hear, Max dropped out of Rutgers, and it's like, oh, shame. The parents have fucked up. The kid is a failure. 2/3 of our kids do not end up with a college degree. Workshop stuff, find something you could be good at, maybe great. It might be being a tax accountant. Okay, do you understand, are you willing to go to college? Are you willing to get a CPA? Do you understand numbers? Do you understand the tax code? Are you good with clients? Because if you can become in the top 10% or the top 1% of tax lawyers, those people get to fly private and have a broader selection set of mates than they deserve, which makes them really passionate about the tax law. I am so passionate about analytics because it gave me the ability to take care of my kids, take care of my dad, have crazy, outrageous vacations, and remove stress from my key relationships. Passion comes from artistry, mastery, and economic security. So whatever that thing is that gives you the ability to make some good money that you're good at, maybe even great at, in an industry that's not sexy, you're going to become passionate about it. I'm building a home right now in London, and there's the soapstone guy or the marble guy, and he's this Iraqi immigrant, and everybody knows him. He can tell you everything about the veining and the marble. And I was very open with him, and he's been open with me. He makes 2.1 million pounds top line. He has a marble company. He clears about 800,000.
That's pretty good margins.
Yeah, he's a guy in his 40s. He's been in marble since he was 28, and he's passionate about marble and soapstone because it affords him a really nice life, and he's great at it. And he gets a lot of camaraderie. He gets a lot of prestige, relevance. Pride, ability to take care, to be economically secure. So the first thing is focus. Second thing is I call it stoicism, but the one thing that's in your control is spending. You got to develop a savings muscle when you're young and see if you can get alignment with your roommates or your romantic partner and gamify saving money. Even you got to figure out, you got to have a savings muscle that you can flex. When I was a junior in UCLA, I wasn't going back for my senior year unless I saved $3,000 through the summer. I had 11 weeks to save $3,000, earn and save. So everyone in the fraternity knew who the 4 kids were who didn't have money. I went to UCLA. I was in a fraternity with mostly Jewish kids in the Valley. They all had money. There were 4 of us that everybody knew were broke. Like, our parents weren't helping us. We moved in together in a room in the house, and we had a whiteboard, and we gamified spending. I spent $78 a week, including rent and food, for 12 weeks. I ate top ramen, bananas, and milk. My big treat is every Sunday night I'd go to Sizzler. You ask your parents. And for $4.99, I was on the crew team. The entire crew team would go, and we would go there at 3 p.m. when it opened, and we'd stay till 8 p.m., and we would just eat several million calories. And it was fun. I mean, I would have rather had more money, yeah. But the ability to gamify, and especially with a partner, save money and start investing, if you're young, you got to figure out that savings muscle. And it's getting reward from other things, getting reward from fitness, from friends. The nice thing about being young is you don't need as much money to have fun. There's this Instagram generation that thinks you got to have a Birkin bag or go to Coachella, have fun. When you're in your 20s, pretty much like beer and making out is a pretty good brap. There's a lot of cheap shit out there available for 20-somethings.
Plus, you can't really do it after you're married.
Yeah,
you know?
Then it gets much harder. Or actually, it doesn't get harder.
These days in Austin, Pauly, though, pretty big.
It doesn't get harder. It gets much more expensive. So
That's true.
I call it stoicism, but getting a savings muscle. The third is time. For the majority of our time on this planet, we haven't lived past 35. So young people just cannot imagine they're going to live to be 100. And most of them are. And they also can't calibrate how fast time is going to go. Wow, my life has gone really slowly, said no one ever. If you, from the age of 22, just figure out a way to get 2, 3, 5% of your income out of your hands. 99% of us will spend everything that comes into our hands. You have the brightest people in the world with a godlike technology hitting you at the exact right moment, a chance to upgrade from economy to economy comfort, to add flourless chocolate cake with your panini, whatever it is, right? Telling you deserve this, it's worth it. Oh, there's 2 people looking at this hotel room. There's only 1 left. Buy now. Find a forced savings mechanism, 2 to 5% in your 20s. When you're my age, you're going to be fine. You don't start into your 30s, that's fine, but it's going to need to be 5 to 10%. It's going to be closer to 15 to 20 when you're in the 40s. But you're going to live longer than you think. Time is going to go fast. Well, I'm only going to get 9% in the markets. Well, okay, that means in 24 years it's going to be up 8-fold. So the power of compound interest in time. And then the final thing where I really screwed up was the power of diversification. And that is, I've always made a lot of money. I came out of the gates hot, starting e-commerce companies, and I was raised came of professional age where you were told, be in it to win it, go deeper, go deeper. And my company was about to go public, and I was that guy that borrowed money against his stocks to buy more stock. So when 2000 hit, I went from looking at jets, no joke, to broke. Clawed my way back, 2008, all my money was in tech again. Boom, broke again. And that was about the time my first son came along, which was really upsetting. But diversification is your Kevlar, and that is, 2 weeks ago I found out I made one of my biggest investments. I invested $5 million in a tech-based healthcare company, Tier 1 VCs, baller CEO, best investors, had to elbow my way to get in. That's a big investment for me. It went out of business last week. That's a zero for me. But I don't invest more than 3 or 4% of my net worth in any one thing. So it ruined my hour, but it didn't even ruin my day, and it certainly didn't ruin my week. Diversification is your Kevlar. The moment you have anything resembling an asset base, you want to try and take pieces of it and put it in stuff that is uncorrelated as possible. Yep. I'm about to invest in a aircraft maintenance company in El Salvador. I just want anything that's away from my tech world. I now appreciate diversification because once you have an asset base, the way you get rich is probably through a little bit of concentration, your own business, you double down on a house, you fix it up, you flip it, whatever it might be. But the way you stay somewhat rich is through diversification. And I didn't realize that. I was always reading these stories about Steve Ballmer borrowing stock, Fred Smith doubling down on FedEx, Mark Zuckerberg never selling a share. No, diversify. Because here's the thing, the market is the market will always trump individual performance. And no matter how good you are, if you're in tech in 2000, you're going to get hurt. Yep. Amazon lost 90% of its value from 99 to 2001. And then also a little bit of forgiveness. Recognize that when your stocks go down, recognize when you have a business fail, that most of it is not your fault. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, when you kill it and you buy stock and it doubles and you were smart enough or lucky, you weren't smart enough to buy NVIDIA 3 years ago, you were lucky enough. You are never more prone to a big mistake than after a big win.
For being here today. This was so interesting. I learned a ton, and I know that everybody probably knows where to find you. But if I haven't said it before, No Mercy, No Malice. Probably my favorite newsletter.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, incredible newsletter overall. And I listened to Adrift in probably like 3 days on audiobook, and then I bought actually the real book too because the graphics are so incredible.
Thank you.
And I think even if people don't read books today, which is more normal, like being able to understand the world through those graphs is very easy and digestible. So if you haven't read Scott's new book, Adrift, it's really good, as are all the rest. Thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you, and congrats on your success.
Yeah, well, we'll see how long it lasts.